To spur demand, Ferry began to enter modified production cars into racing events. The 356s achieved a number of racing successes in Europe and in North America, including class wins at Le Mans in 1951 and 1952. By the mid-1950s, Porsche was able to develop cars built primarily for racing, the 550 series Spyders. These lightweight, open-topped two-seaters, with aluminum bodies sitting on a tubular frame, were spectacular and fast. In 1955, Porsche was ready to take the new Spyders to the 24-hour race at Le Mans. Ferry Porsche had high hopes for the factory team that would be competing against the world's best cars and drivers. Over 250,000 spectators gathered to watch Europe's classic sports race. They were thrilled watching the cars break records at every lap. The Porsche team was able to capture 2 class wins and came close to an overall victory. The Spyders became the dominant car in the sports car class around the world. Success on the track stimulated demand for the quick little Spyders, including from celebrities.
Ladies and gentlemen, James Dean.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi, Gig.
We asked Jimmy over today because he's a racing man himself.
In 1955, the young actor James Dean, known for his love of fast cars, joined the Spyder buying bandwagon. With his new $6,000 Spyder capable of hitting 150 miles per hour, Dean became a fixture at weekend races in California. Although he wasn't really trained as a racer, he drove that car in several events and proved to be quite talented. In the fall of 1955, he set out from Los Angeles for a race in Northern California. The setting sun blinded Dean as he drove. He didn't see a Ford sedan pull out into an intersection. His car collided with the other car. Dean was killed instantly. As the 50s came to an end, it was clear that the 356 needed a makeover to keep its appeal. Ferry's son, Bootsy, took responsibility for designing the new body. In 1963, the new 901 debuted at the Frankfurt Auto Show. Peugeot claimed it owned the rights to car names with 3 digits and a 0 in the middle, so Porsche changed the name to the 911. The car's configuration was similar to the 356. Its engine was still in the rear and was air-cooled. However, it was more powerful since it had 6 cylinders instead of 4. This gave the new car a top speed of about 130 miles per hour. One thing the company lacked was an open roadster model of the 911. Safety concerns were mounting, so the designers developed an open car with a built-in roll bar. They called it the Targa. The 1967 Targa was a hit, but Porsche owners would have to wait until 1983 for a true cabriolet. The late 1960s saw the creation of a seminal Porsche, the 908. After a shaky start in the 1968 Daytona 500 and a close defeat at Le Mans, the 908 started winning. It won enough races to earn the company its first World Manufacturers title in 1969. The 908 led to the development of one of the most famous Porsche racing cars, the 917. The 917 is considered to be the most important historic racing Porsche. It first hit the track in 1969 with a 4.5-litre, 550 horsepower, 12-cylinder engine. The 917 gave Porsche its second consecutive World Manufacturers Championship, and in 1970, its first outright Le Mans victory. Porsche created 25 of the costly cars so they would qualify as a production model. Some said the only thing they had in common with a production car was that they had a wheel at each corner. The 908's 220-plus miles per hour top speed created the biggest initial problem with the cars. The rear end would lift and the cars would be hard to steer. The problem was fixed by reshaping the tail into an upraised wedge. Once the aerodynamic fix was developed, the car began to dominate the tracks of Europe. Its main rival, the Ferrari 512, was a fearsome competitor. But in 1971, Porsche scored another Le Mans victory. The stunning back-to-back triumphs at Le Mans helped to earn the car its legendary status. Porsche continued racing on all the major tracks of the world and in some offbeat venues. In the late 1970s, the company saw its cars entered into extreme endurance rallies. The 911s were being taken off-road and pushed to see how sure-footed they were. Some decided to challenge racing's outer limits, Africa. People took the 911s into the toughest environments to test themselves and the cars. In 1986, Porsche's new limited edition four-wheel drive 959 entered the Paris-Dakar Rally, the ultimate Mad Max-like event across the untamed African interior. Some thought taking the reformulated 911 into this inhospitable environment would be a nightmare. This is a race for rough and tumble off-road vehicles, not refined sports cars. But surprisingly, the Porsches became the first sports cars to win. While racing put the company in the headlines, some of the developments for the track found their way into the street cars. The turbocharged racing engines gave rise to blisteringly fast turbo Carreras in 1975. These 160 miles per hour cars stood out with wide flared fenders, fat tires and spoilers. They were the fastest production cars on the road.